When examiners are marking your answer, they're looking for 4 main parts. A response to the statement, so do you agree or disagree? Do you understand the writer's methods? Have you given evidence or quotations to support your answer? And can you discuss how the text, writer's methods, or quotation affect the reader? The more effectively you can do each of these 4 elements, the more marks you will be awarded. But what do you need to include to do this? Look at the statement you're given. It'll usually have 2 parts to it. Let's look at our example. In your answer, you should be looking to respond to both of these parts of this statement. It's also possible to agree with the first part of the statement and disagree with the second part, and vice versa. When you've decided whether you agree or disagree, or a mix of both, you're then asked to evaluate how the writer shows certain ideas. This means that the question is asking you to make a judgment or judgments, to weigh up, consider and give your opinion on the statement. Do you agree or disagree? And what do you think? Why do you think this? In giving an answer to why you think this, you're being asked to look at and evaluate, so judge, weigh up, give your opinion on what the writer does to influence your opinion, the methods the writer has used. But what do we mean when we talk about methods? When we talk about writer's methods, we mean the techniques the writer has used to communicate certain ideas or themes. This can be done using language features like similes, metaphors, or specific vocabulary. However, it can also mean looking at the writer's tone, the mood or emotion they convey, or structural features such as the order of events or shifts in focus or pace. These are the features which have helped you to decide whether you agree, disagree, or have a balanced response to the statement. So it's really important that you explain why these features have made you agree or disagree with the statement. A simple and effective method to explain why the writer's methods have helped you to agree or disagree is to evaluate the evidence you used, so the quote, and the impact that quote had on you. What it made you think or feel, and then discuss why it makes you think or feel this way. If you struggle with this, try putting yourself in the shoes of the character saying the quote, or in the same situation and thinking about what you would be thinking or feeling. What does the quote make the reader think will happen next, and why do you think this? For this question, you need to give your opinion. Do you agree or disagree with your statement? Give evidence to back up your answer. Why do you agree or disagree? What methods does the writer use to make you think this? Describe the impact of the evidence. What effect do the writer's methods have on the reader? What do the writer's methods make us think or feel? Why do we think or feel this way? Let's look at an example. For this example, we'll look at part of an answer which was given 12 marks. In this answer, we can see that the student is immediately given their opinion and almost straight away begins evidencing the reasons why they agree by using quotations. Having started to give quotations for evidence, the student is also clearly evaluating throughout the opening sentences. The student then begins to explain the effect on the reader and finishes by summarising their thoughts on the initial statement in the question. Remember, your answer doesn't have to follow a set structure. You can add quotes, discuss writer's methods, and talk about the effect on the reader in any order. If you're struggling to get started on this question, think about: do I agree or disagree? Why do I agree or disagree? What events or actions make me agree or disagree? What methods has the writer used to talk about these events or actions? Give an example of this method in a quote and say what the quote means or shows. What does the quote make the reader think or feel, and why? The more detail you give in your response, the more marks you'll be awarded. This means that if you can clearly show that you understand how the writer uses methods, you're much more likely to gain higher marks. You can do this by making sure you quote effectively. If you make a statement, make sure you give a quote to evidence that statement. Talk about what methods, language, structure, tone, imagery, etc. are being used in the quote, and talk about how this quote affects the reader, how it makes the reader think or feel.